Why, Bunny, do so many middle-aged men need a place, be it physical or mental, to hide from modern life? A man cave, as it were. Why is that a necessity?
I think everybody needs a place to get away from the noise for a while.
Everybody needs someplace where everybody knows your name.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah. Norm!
Okay, so man caves of the mind. Why does every Gen X guy finally admit that you need refuge from the modern world? Mm-hmm. So you seem to be more like you dig this more than I do, and yet
we're sitting in a man cave.
That's exactly.
I mean, the irony of this statement.
It's not, though. It's a studio. It's not a man cave. There's nothing man cave-ish about this.
This place is plastered with media. Like everywhere I look, there's posters and pictures and toys and drawings and
there have been
autographs.
A few toys that have made their way in. There are autographs in certain spots. Posters of everything from Moon Knight to U2 to Iron Maiden to Rush to Mastodon.
I would call this a man cave.
Really?
Yeah.
But see, it seems more, I guess, pragmatic than what you would typically picture a man cave to be.
Well, no. I mean, I know some people who are really into golf in their man cave. They have like little putting greens and stuff in there. So it's a place where they keep their tools and they work. I mean. Okay,
I get it. So in a man cave, can it be just a simple garage? Does it have to be something built up like this?
Yeah, I mean, a man cave is a relatively new term, I know, like in the last few decades. But I mean, when your dad went to piddle around in the basement or the garage just to get away from the in-laws for a while, would that be considered a man cave because he was just in the garage?
I guess so. I mean, I remember my dad in his workshop doing reloading of bullets and stuff and little projects like that. So sure.
Yeah, my dad would forever rearrange his workshop. Like, what do you want to call it? Like arrange screws and nuts and stuff in different little drawers. And
did your dad have the like Miracle Whip jars with the jar lid on a 2x4 part of a shelf?
Exactly.
And, so did mine.
So and that was forever being reorganized and rearranged. And, he was sharpening chisels and lawnmower blades and stuff, just kind of keeping himself busy.
Yeah.
So was it a refuge for him? Absolutely.
Yeah. Are there rules to a man cave, though?
I don't know so much about rules, but I think, I had a friend who spent time in prison. This is an interesting aside here, and I'm going to try to liken this to man caves.
In prison, are each of the cells a cave?
It's all a man cave because it's all men. Now, he was saying that the one thing that you have to do, because you don't get any privacy in prison, like there's no stalls, there's no doors on the bathroom stalls, there's no, people watch you when you shower, they watch you when you're in your room, there's
Santa
no
Claus
privacy.
is always there.
Exactly. It's the panopticon. And he said the main thing that you have to do is you have to remember who you were before you came in. And the only place that you get your privacy is inside your head. So that's the one place they can't look, so you have to kind of keep this little kernel of yourself alive on the inside, because you'll change when you're in there. You'll adapt to survive.
Sure.
And I think man caves are a lot like, it's that little kernel, just it's blown out into the physical world. It reminds you of who you were before you are now, or who you are professionally now, because I think a lot of men caves, they always have at least some little remnant of something that reminds the man of who he was as a child, or who he was as a teenager, a rebellious teenager, or something like, for example, my man cave.
Yeah.
While it doesn't have the usual accoutrements that you'd imagine, I have in a drawer, I don't put it out for display, but I have a little toy truck that I've had since I was 2 years old. Okay. There's a brand called Mighty Moe's.
Yeah.
It used to be they were like a friction toy that you roll them across the floor and they just keep creeping along really slowly. And it's a little blue and white cement truck that I got when I was 2. Now, it was not a favorite toy of mine. It's not something that I played with a lot. It still works, amazing enough, after all these years, after 50-some years.
Yeah.
But I keep it around just to kind of remind me of who I was before I was who I am. You know, it's kind of it's a root object. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have something like that in their man caves.
If you look to your right by the doorway to the studio, there is a promo picture of the band I was in college, Feeling Crystal.
Oh, yeah. I remember those guys
and
gal.
The reason that's up there is because of what you just said.
Yeah.
That was when I didn't know a lot about music. We were writing and creating because we loved it and trying to figure it out, and we had big dreams, and there was lots of stuff we wanted to do. And that's literally why it's hanging there right by the door, so that every time I walk out, I see that, and it's a reminder of everything that happens in this room is good.
Sure.
Everything that happens in here, the creativity, no matter who it's with, is good. There's a reason for it. Even if it doesn't go where we want it to go, it's good.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the man cave is because, especially, I'll say men because I am a man, you know, that men have a tendency to kind of get flattened in the world and turned gray because their jobs, there's not a lot of identity in your work. You know, for a lot of men, it's a lot of uniforms, it's a lot of going to work, it's a lot of wearing ties, blending in, being part of the machine.
Yeah.
And this gives them a place where they can sort of express themselves as a different personality or their true personality, who they want to be.
Not to get away from the topic, though, I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a certain conformity required.
Yeah, you remember the she sheds are the new hip
I was going to bring that up, too.
I mean, now that women work more, I think women are finding that need, too, of like, oh, man, I need to get back to my roots and feel who I was or who I used to be when I really liked myself.
Yeah.
Not so much of who I am now with all the duties I have and my requirements and me being a dad or a mom or a whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So I think man caves are really kind of a little special place. They're very, you always hear about your shadow self. I think this is your light self, the man cave.
Yeah. Is it escaping the noise, or I guess in a way, is it about hiding, or is it meditating? What is it? For me, it's creativity. Well, for me, it's coming in and playing.
Yeah, it's pretty subjective. I remember a friend's father had what I guess would have been considered a man cave at the time, where it was all wood paneling.
Oh, God.
And it was full of trophies, hunting trophies, between fishing and bucks and squirrels and all sorts of animals you can imagine. It was all of his trophies that he'd been gathering over the years. And the only thing that was ever played on the television in there were hunting programs, like hunting and fishing programs, because that's what he loved doing.
Yeah.
And this was sort of his place to just go and unwind and live the life that he wished he could be living right now, you know, because it was wintertime.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So now I can sit and watch this stuff and get all hyped up for spring.
Yeah.
You know, it's different things to different people. I know one guy, a friend of mine, has one that's all golf related. And he has little putting greens and keeps his golf clubs on little displays, you know, that hang on, like you'd hang a gun on a wall. He has golf clubs. And there's another friend who was big into the Air Force, and his place is full of challenge coins and artist prints of dog fighting planes and stuff like that. It's his, where he can go back and relive his military days.
Sure.
In this room. So,
and you know, I guess this is a man cave, because you're talking about that, and I'm thinking to myself, like the 2 studio monitor wedges that are down there on the floor. I have come in here and just grabbed an acoustic guitar, and just the only lights that were on were these lights around the window that I just flipped on, and just sit in here and just strum the guitar.
Yeah.
With no purpose in mind, just kind of sitting.
Is that to get away from the noise of the world, or is that to revisit who you truly want to be or who you are?
I think more meditation.
Mm-hmm.
literally just meditation, because to me, meditating doesn't have to be silent.
Yeah.
Just not thinking about it and playing, whether it's a guitar or a bass or whatever, just kind of letting your mind wander and playing. Okay. And you can't just do that in the kitchen. You almost have to have a dedicated space.
True.
To do that. Otherwise, you're going to annoy everyone else in the family, including the cats. So everything we're talking about, like golfing, Air Force, music, your man cave. Tell me about yours.
My man cave is stark white.
Yep.
It is covered in chrome and white fixtures. It's like being in the movie Rollerball or Clockwork Orange or something.
Do you have a milk bar?
I don't, but I would kill for one of those, dirty mannequin tables that are all white, and ladies in provocative positions. But yeah, it's a place where I can go, and it's very meditative. It's very quiet. It's surrounded by mid-century artwork, and that's sort of my happy space, is a dystopian spacecraft. I'm living in the future, like the future I always wanted when I'm in there.
Yeah. So how much of a man cave is nostalgia? How much of it is hope?
I think it's a lot of it. I mean, most people surround themselves with what either their ideal self or things that bring them comfort. I mean, why would you want to go in a room that just looked like every other room?
Yeah. Yeah. There's
you can relax in your living room, but you can really unwind in your man cave.
Sure. Yeah. And you mentioned roots before. And I think that's a big key. Like, having the design has to be something of you. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be something that everybody will understand even. It's just got to be something that means something to you.
Yeah.
Do you really need, I guess because it came up in sitcoms and things like that, as not really a derogatory thing, but almost a comical thing, the idea of the man cave. And we talked a minute ago about the she shed, or everybody having a space that they can call their own. I guess, do we need to find permission for this? Like, if you're a married couple, do the husband and wife have to give each other permission for that? Or is it something that should just be expected?
That's really subjective to the relationship, I think. I've never been in a relationship with anyone in my past who I felt the need to get permission from to do something.
Yeah, me neither.
And vice versa. I never had to give them permission to have a little space of their own or whatever. I think it's vital for people to have a place, like a refuge, where they can go and turn themselves off, because as an only child, I remember, like, my bedroom used to be.
Yeah, same.
It was my man cave. It was my boy cave, I guess.
Yeah.
My toddler cave, and then my boy cave, and then my teenage boy cave. Yeah. Which was just a sex den. It stunk like incense. And then, now I'm living in a man cave, so I'm just a caveman. What can you do?
Yeah, let's take a left turn, because I'm as we're talking, I'm intrigued more and more by your friend that was in prison, that you've got to, I guess, lay anchor in your head and have that as your space.
You never lay pipe in prison.
No, try not to.
That's bad
if you
news.
can avoid it. Can you have a mental man cave? Let's say you're living in a studio apartment.
Yeah, I think you almost have to. And you got no room. Yeah. Well, that can be your man cave if you're just living in your studio apartment by yourself, sure.
Well, yeah. But I guess ultimately, even if you've got a man cave, so much of it is mental.
Well, it's that weird idea. Remember back in the day when men's caves, is that what they call it? Where that was a new concept, and they said it was because the woman had the rest of the house. Remember, it was that whole idea of like, the woman gets to decorate the rest of the house and choose how it's designed, but the man has his own little tiny space. Ha ha ha. That kind of thing. I
always hated tropes like that.
Yeah, me too. But they're not born from thin air. The stereotypes do come from sources usually. And you see that where even when I was growing up, my parents, like my dad never really had a little space of his own until we built a rec room for me, of all things, down in the basement.
Yeah.
But my dad would use it too.
Yeah.
And he had his workshop. But yeah, the rest of the house, it was my mom picked out the colors, picked out the artwork. Because like my dad had no interest in anything that happened on the first floor.
Yeah.
All he wanted to do was watch TV and sleep on the first floor and eat. But, you know,
that
down in his little
stairway
workshop.
Stairway was a gateway to another world.
It was, yeah. And I remember him sitting down there, like on Sunday mornings, he would play gospel records and sing by himself.
Yeah.
Because he didn't go to church or whatever, but that was his sort of, this is my little space now. And I have Sunday morning, so I sing music, you know, I sing along with the tracks. It was an interesting ritual. But cool. I think everybody kind of has their own rituals that they do in their spaces, be it a child, a woman, or a man.
Is it a form of therapy?
Yeah.
I mean, we
it's
mentioned
the cheapest
nostalgia.
therapy you can get.
Yeah. Because there is a certain calm that I feel when I walk into this room.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I don't like the rest of the house. I mean, you've obviously been around the house.
Yeah.
There's plenty of stuff that I've put up on the walls, too.
Oh, yeah. That place is burgeoning.
Yeah.
Bulging with
I love
artwork.
posters and stuff and things like that. So it's not, I don't feel a need for a man cave, but it's more like I need a pragmatic place to be this part of myself. Mm-hmm. That's what my man cave is.
Sure.
Because it wouldn't make sense to have all this stuff scattered all around the house in different places.
Yeah, unless that was your dynamic as a relationship or you lived on your own.
Yeah, yeah. But it was really, when we looked at this house before we even bought it, when I saw this room, it was immediately going to be my studio.
There you go. You kind of know these things when you see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about even when I lived on my own, when I was by myself, my entire living space was a man cave. You know, it was designed the way I wanted it to be designed.
Right.
I have a hard time wrapping my head around. I've got some friends they're terrible with design. It's like your stereotypical guy thing. It's like I sound like a fruity guy, you know, when I'm all talking about, design aesthetics and blah, blah, blah. I think it's really important for somebody who's visual, especially, to have a design aesthetic. But I've got some guy friends that literally, the only time they put anything on the wall is if somebody left a nail on the wall. So it doesn't matter, like, if it's in the wrong spot or if it doesn't fit their art or whatever. They'll put something over the nail so they don't have to take the nail out of the wall. But it's just like stark white walls, nothing. Mattress on the corner of the floor, you know, who's my man cave? It's like, I guess if that's what you want is an empty cell.
From a design aesthetic, you must hate this room.
This room is a little busy for me.
Well, it's just like, I love the fact that none of the posters are like level with each other.
Oh, that's fine. That doesn't bother me at all. It's just, there's a lot of stuff going on in here.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way your mind works, though. It's like it
is.
Because that's your general design aesthetic, is lots and lots of stuff.
Yeah, it's chaos. There's always something. There are always multiple things going on.
My design aesthetic is like being in a museum.
Yeah.
It's stark, it's quiet, it's very chosen few pieces of things here and there.
Yeah.
Stuff on display very minimally, and then everything else is pretty much stark.
How much of that was influenced by like the 70s dystopian cinema stuff? Because it's
I mean, honestly, I was rewatching the Buck Rogers series from the 70s and 80s.
Rest in peace, Gil Gerard.
Yeah. It showed up online because of his recent passing. Yeah. And I was looking at Buck's room, if you remember that. For anybody out there who doesn't remember, it was a lot of like vacuum formed white. Like the walls glowed. They were like lights behind the walls. So everything lit up. But he brought in little touches of the 20th century, where he brought in like, you know, a Tiffany lamp hanging over his new fancy modern table and a house plant, which was something they didn't have in the future. Apparently it was a rarity. So he had these little touches of home in with this futuristic world. And that's pretty much my aesthetic right there. I love plants in a stark space. I don't know. It's very silent running, I guess. If you've never seen that film, I'm into that kind of thing.
Yeah. What if you did your entire house like that?
Don't tempt me.
Well, and notwithstanding the fact that your wife would kill you, like it would be tough to handle. But is there a danger in the man cave expanding, or in not wanting to leave that aesthetic?
Well, let's put it this way. One of the houses that we looked at before we picked this one was the 1984 House of the Future from the Knoxville World's Fair.
Yeah.
They had transplanted it to Florence. It was a dome. It had a conversation pit. It had a wonderful spiral wooden staircase. It was a dystopian delight.
It was pretty awesome from the pictures. I didn't ever go.
Yeah, I only went once, and I spent way too long there just hanging out and making offers and getting turned down. If we had gotten that house, that is what you consider a man cave spreading out all over the place. Because my wife was immediately like, well, I'll just take the downstairs. Because there was this really fancy furnished basement with like a dark, it was all dark and cool down there. There was a bar, there was a library. There's all sorts of stuff in the lower level. But the upstairs was like stark white domes, crazy shaped windows. You know, there was a place for a big plant that would have hugged the staircase going up to a big skylight. It's perfect for my 70s aesthetic. I was going to turn it into the 70s bachelor pad, but it did not come to pass, sadly.
Yeah.
But that's definitely a danger, because if I lived in a place that I could just curate, basically, that would become my job.
Gotcha.
Would just be being there, because why do I want to go outside and hang outside and stuff when I've got everything I want inside?
Well, and that leads to the last question, I think, and we've kind of touched on it a little bit. Why is there a need? Is it to hide from the noise, as we already referenced? Is it to find ourselves? Is it all these things? I just wonder, I don't know, could I live without it? Because I have.
Sure.
And that's the thing. Is it all in our head, and this just happens? The man cave or the she shed just happen to be the extension of it?
It's very Jungian. I mean, you know, the whole idea of archetypes and becoming who you really want to become, or becoming your true self, I think. And if you have the means and the ability and the opportunity to become your true self, I think everybody should jump at that. Become who you want to become. You want to be a clown, live in a freaking circus tent, you know? I mean, you want to be a farmer, live on a farm. You know, I mean, that's the way you do it. It's hard to be a farmer when you live in a one-bedroom apartment in a tower block. It's hard to be a clown when you live in a, you know, in the fancy suburban neighborhood full of
you can't be a clown in a
homes.
bi-level, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I mean, come on. So just you gotta go for it, because this is your life.
Tell me about your first cave moment. Could be as a kid in your room, could be as an adult. The first moment where you went, this is specifically for me.
Yeah.
I'm getting it. It's going in my place.
Yeah, I think I was very lucky in that my parents were very happy to have me as a child. And that sounds dumb, but they lost their first child.
Yeah.
So it was very much like, oh, we have to protect this kid at all costs, because kids can just die on you. So they were very, very good about, oh, we'll make your room anything you want to make it, just as long as we know where you're at, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It was almost a bird in a gilded cage situation. But I remember distinctly my room was baby blue when I was really young, like really little. And it must have been when I turned about 7 or 8, they gave me the choice to pick my own room color.
Yeah.
And I picked this atrocious navy blue, like this really dark blue. My parents were appalled, but they went with it. Yeah. And that was probably my first cave moment. It wasn't a great color.
Yeah.
But it was something I picked out. And that room color changed probably every 3 years after that, I think.
The one I remember the most was the really dark purple.
Yeah. That was toward the end there when I was getting ready to get out. But yeah, it had been all sorts of weird shades of color. It was burgundy and all sorts of things. So that was probably my first man cave moment. What about you?
Moving downstairs. Because I grew up in basically a single level with a partially furnished basement. And the room in the basement that had the most furnishing, like the wood paneling and stuff, had been set up as a dining room when my parents bought the house. And somewhere around freshman year of high school, I was living in one of the 3 rooms upstairs. And I don't remember even how it came up, but we weren't using that as a dining room anymore. And there was just hardly anything in there. And I think my dad was like, "You want to move downstairs?" And I was like, "How would we do that?" "Well, we'll just set the room up for you." And so I moved downstairs, and that's where I lived for a good long time. And it was great because I had my own space. And you know, I had
your own door too. You come and go through the basement door.
Exactly. So like
bothering anybody.
When I was going to work, I didn't have to bother mom and dad. I just came and went as I pleased. And this, like, being 16, 17, 18, just kind of, that's where I was. And there was a door to a window to the driveway that if somebody was coming over, they knew to just tap on that and I'd know somebody was there. And
it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. And there wasn't really a door into the room from the other area of the downstairs. There was a shower curtain, but it served the same purpose. It kept the warmth in during the winters and stuff. And I had been able to like put posters on the wall and stuff in my room upstairs, but like where my bed went, where all the stuff went in that room, that was up to me. Mm-hmm. And I could put posters up and, you know, do it up as I wished. And that was really my first man cave because it was all me. And there is still, because my parents still live in that house, even when I moved out, like when I got married, I didn't take everything. Mm-hmm. There's still a poem that I wrote that I taped up on the wall that is still on the wall there from when I was like 19 or something.
There you go.
Yeah. So one other thing to go through. And we kind of hit this already, so I'm going to ask you for a different one. The thing in your man cave, I hit it too, but a thing in your man cave that is really a time capsule. Like something that really, if it were gone, it would break your heart.
Oh, wow. That's a tough one. I've got so many things in that man cave that are very valuable pieces of art.
Yeah.
Very antique stuff. I think one of the things that would break my heart is I have a globe lamp that's a table lamp that is, it's Danish modern or whatever. It's from, it's probably like a 68, 69.
Yeah.
All original wiring and that, but it's nice, 3 big globes. I looked everywhere for that for years and years, finally found one at an affordable price, and it is up on one of my bookshelves there, and it never really gets turned on. It rarely gets turned on.
Yeah.
Because I just can't bring myself. I don't want to burn out the wires or anything in it because it's such a it's such a relic.
Yeah.
And it's in such good shape that's probably one of the things. I mean, I've got artwork on the walls that I would hate to lose.
Yeah.
And I only have like 2 small toys in that man cave, and one of them is a like gladiator bug. You know, one of those things.
Yes.
And I have a Micronaut. Yes. Like one of my only Micronauts sitting there because I kind of felt like they fit, you know, with the time frame. I'd hate to lose anything in there. Let's be honest. Yeah. So how about you?
I would hate to lose anything in here. The 2 things I will point to, my 92 Fender P-Bass, because it was a gift from my parents on my birthday. I am the only owner, the only person that's ever played that, except for, you know, occasionally friends like picking it up and stuff. And I don't really use it anymore. I've shifted to a different type of bass that I use, but it's been with me the whole time. It's going to go with me to my grave. It's not going anywhere. But there's also on the wall behind me, saw the band Savatage that kind of morphed into Trans-Siberian Orchestra, if you're familiar with them. The band Savatage, a couple of us went and saw them on the Edge of Thorns tour and hung out back of Bogart's after the concert and got to meet the band, one of whom was the original lead guitarist Chris Oliva, who was the brother of the original singer John Oliva, and got to meet him. Fantastic guy, one of my favorite guitarists ever. And a couple months after we met them, he died in a drunk driving accident where he and his wife were driving. They were hit by a drunk driver. Mm-hmm. They weren't under the influence. And he passed away. So the fact that we got to see them, I got to meet him, is...
And you have autographs of these people on your wall.
Yeah. I've got the autographs there are Savatage, King's X, Manic Street Preachers. There's some Mastodon, Riverside. A few others are up there too. Yeah, so all that is really important to me. Just those life things that happen and become part of the man cave and part of the aesthetic.
Cool. So what man caves or lady caves or kid caves out there do you guys have? Go ahead and let us know, like, what you're into. Like, what is the one possession that you have that ties you to your roots? How about that? Because not everybody has the opportunity or the option to have a dedicated space. So, but I think everybody keeps something from their past that keeps them grounded to who they were or who they want to be again. So let us know. Drop us a line in the comments.
Tell us about your man caves, your she sheds, or the caves in your mind where you store your artifacts there too. Until next time, this has been the Gen-X-istentialists podcast. My name is Scott.
And I'm Bunny.
We'll catch you next time. Have a good one.